Hey, greetings, friends and clients. I'm going to blow this up so you can see me front and center. Jeremy Larkin here. So happy to be working with you, whether you are my client or you're working with Michelle, Jesse, or Jessica, who also work with some of our home selling clients. You're going to want to watch this. You're going to want to sit right through the next 5 or so minutes. I promise this is information you need. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly of the St. George real estate market. We just hosted a radio show this morning for 25 minutes going over this. I'm going to do this in 5. But as a home seller, you need this info. If you're a home buyer and you happen to get this, you're going to need this info. And this is the reality of the market. Now, real estate agents are always trained to tell you that everything's great. If we don't talk about it, it's not happening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. If we don't face it, it's not reality. And if we're positive enough, everything will get better. Well, here's what I know. You and I and anyone watching this and anyone out my window has no control over what the U.S. government is going to do with shutting businesses down, and they shut businesses down. If you drive by your gym, it's closed. If you go to the movie theater, it's closed. TJ Maxx is freaking closed, right? The whole world has been brought to a screeching halt because of a physical health crisis, not an economic crisis. Here's the information you need. Here we go. Hey, leave me alone. I got Facebook messages coming through here. All right, you guys ready? Showing time is the system, as many of you know, that we use to schedule showings for our clients, meaning buyer wants to show their, agent wants to show their buyer your listing, and they schedule a showing with us. Showing time has scheduled 544 million showings to date. And they track data year over year with what's going on with showing activity. Now, I realize you're going to say, well, wait a minute, they don't have data yet for Utah. They have data on 40 of the 50 states and parts of Canada. It's enough data. Here's what's happened with showings. Cruising along, weekly averages last year, looking good, and look what happened. Oh, March 11th, showings fell off. Why'd they show? Well, we don't need to know why they fell off. I went to Smith's this morning, and I was like the only guy without a mask on. I wasn't the only guy, but it was weird, and no one will make eye contact with you, which is really odd. So 62% drop in showings from last year. Now, the interesting part is that it started to level because people are less freaked out now. So showings are down. What does that mean? It means that the total number of sales is going to be down also. So here's the data. This is a weekly average of new listings, closings, and new under contracts, new pending sales from February 19th through this week, Wednesday to Wednesday. Well, a month ago, there were 145 new listings, 7 weeks ago, 110 closings, and 200 new contracts, okay? Well, when you look at this 150, what I did is I divided this week by that week and this week by that week. So there was 115% as many new listings this week as there was before, and so on and so forth. I plugged in here the peak. So the highest number of new listings in the last 7 weeks was the week of March 4th to March 11th. The highest number of closings was the week of March 18th to March 25th. The highest number of new contracts was the 7 weeks ago. Look what's happened. 200, 164, 176, 165, 124, 117, 107 in the last 7 days. We have dropped, so there were 91% as many pendings this week as there was last week. We've dropped 46% or so in our pending sales over the last 7 weeks. Well, why? Because there are fewer people looking at homes. There are fewer people who want you in their home if you're a buyer, right? And we're moving to virtual showings, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the good and the bad and the ugly. Closings will not go to zero. Now, there's 133 closings. That looks great, except for that's closings that started a month ago. It's a lagging indicator. And sellers are, the good news is if you're selling, sellers are starting to slowly, fewer sellers are putting their home on the market. But this is a real issue. Okay, now let's talk about, now what do we do? Okay, well, first of all, we don't panic. Number two, we know, and I'm going to share some information with you, we know that this market is going to repair itself. 10, 12 years ago, we had an economic crisis that was completely based on, I'm going to log into something while you're talking to me, and I apologize for the delay. We had an economic crisis that was actually fueled by the housing market in a lot of ways. That is not the case right now. We came into this COVID-19 crap with a housing market that was robust, inventory was low, economy was strong, people had jobs, lowest unemployment ever. We went from the lowest unemployment ever to the highest unemployment since the Great Depression. And these are resources that they give us to speak to our clients. Just full transparency. It's really helpful. So what I want to be able to share with you is a little bit of what's going on here. Well, this is what remember they say, well, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley are like the biggest group of theys out there. They're predicting a V-shaped recovery. A V-shaped recovery means boom and it bounces back, not a U-shaped recovery, which is a slow recovery. And they're predicting that we will fall into Q2. We're in Q2 now, so let's call this middle of May, middle of June, and then a nice recovery into Q3. Okay, this is good news for you if they are right. Remember, we have low inventory. Even though we have the highest unemployment that we've seen in almost 100 years, the reality is most of our home buyers out there still have jobs, right? And they are buying homes. So we're predicting a V-shaped recovery. That's the first thing I want to share with you, right? Number two is, look at this inventory. We're still at 3.5, 4 months of inventory in Washington County. It's going to grow a little bit right now, right? So what do you want to do right now? You want to be poised for the future. Should you take your home off the market right now? I don't think so. Here's what we're doing to help people sell their home right now in this market. We're hosting virtual open houses. We're using Facebook Live. We are instructing sellers. If we haven't instructed you yet, here's your instruction. Each of our agents is going to be calling you, and they're going to be watching this video, to sanitize your home before buyers come in, turn all the lights on, open up all the doors, and let the agent come through, let the buyer come through. We're asking the buyer not to touch anything, no opening drawers and all that stuff, and leave. You can sanitize right after. We can provide you with sanitizing wipes and some hand sanitizer if you don't have it. If you want to use gloves, if you want to have buyers use gloves and masks, we can do that as well. We're having agents and buyers do virtual viewings of our homes. And right now on Showing Time, I showed you this. Showing Time, we can actually schedule a virtual showing of your home, and we'll go out and just show them a video. As all of you know, and if you don't know, you're going to want to know this right now. We have available, and I'll bring this over, we have available for you and for all of our agents out there. We're going over 5 minutes. We're going 7. You need this information. We have virtual 3D tours of all of the homes that we have for sale right now. I'm going to just take, just as a fun example, we just put Chardonnay Lane on the market yesterday, and it is a beautiful, beautiful home last 2 days. And if people click on photos, they can click on virtual tour, and they can do a nice 3D tour and walk through every inch of your home. And it is so dang cool, right? And they want us to know that they use cookies. So they can just go anywhere they want, right? They can travel through the home, they can look at anything. It's not distorted. It is as though they're in the home looking at it. They can look at the floor, they can look at the ceiling, they can do whatever they want, okay? So these are some of the things that we are doing. We are making sure that look, we're gonna sell your home no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes. The last thing I want you to do, and I was listing these off, is I want you to lower your expectations for physical showings and for showings at all. And understand that we're in this weird thing, V-shaped recovery. We're kind of going to the bottom of the V. Showings are down physically. Virtual showings are even lower than physical showings were. But this will pass. This too shall pass. But the reality is you need to know what's going on out there. If you have any questions, speak to your agent on the team, or you can reach out to me. I'm going to give you my cell phone. Okay, it is 435-862-8467. And if we edit this video, we'll throw it into the screen, but it'll be in an email. I will happily take your call, text, I will visit with you. We're all in this together. That's the greatest thing that everyone's teaching right now in the economy, and I think it's real. And the market will survive, and this will pass, and your home can be sold. Last thing I'll share with you. This is not the market where we get to ask an extra 5% over what we actually can see the market is for our home. So say it's worth 500. We don't get to say, well, I just want to try 519. This isn't that market. Where do we think values could go in the next 1 to 2 years? They can only realistically go down or stay flat, right? We're in a recession. We're in a health crisis. So right now is the time to get real about your price. And just because you have to perhaps reduce the price doesn't mean the value went down. It just means that the market for your home is probably, if it's not selling, it may be lower than what you had originally anticipated. That's okay, because what you don't want to do is find out 24 months from now the value's gone down 10% and you got your butt kicked, all right? Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.